Now we begin today with breaking news. Moments ago, the U.S. military dropped its biggest ever non-nuclear bomb in Afghanistan, allegedly striking ISIS tunnels and bunkers. Now the bomb is being referred to as the mother of all bombs, and it's the first time in history that this sort of munition has been used. It follows a week of renewed war talk coming out of Washington in relation to Syria and North Korea. RT's Alexei Yaroshevsky joins us live with more details. Now, Alexei, what can you tell us about this bomb?
Well, first of all, this bomb is not really new. It was developed during the Iraq War. It is called, in full name, Massive Ordnance Air Blast Bomb, or MOAB, or as it's better known, the mother of all bombs. It weighs more than 21,000 pounds, and it is the most powerful non-nuclear munition that the United States military has ever used. We heard from reports by the officials that it was dropped on the tunnels and bunkers used by ISIS in Afghanistan. Now, Edward Snowden, the former NSA contractor turned whistleblower, tweeted about this bomb, saying that its cost is as high as $314 million. And also in a separate tweet, he said that the tunnels that were reportedly struck by this bomb were actually built by Mujahideen back in 1980s during the Soviet incursion of Afghanistan, and were also funded by the CIA. So the biggest bomb, non-nuclear bomb that the U.S. military has dropped, apparently was dropped on something that the U.S. government also funded more than 30 years ago.
But Alexei, the launch of this new munition was preceded by some renewed war rhetoric from Washington. Is that correct?
Oh, absolutely. And this rhetoric is coming on so many fronts right now. First of all, now we are seeing the escalating situation in North Korea, and President Donald Trump spoke about, in very gleeful terms, about the fleet of the United States on its way to the shores of the Korean Peninsula. Let's listen.
We are sending an armada, very powerful. We have submarines, very powerful, far more powerful than the aircraft carrier, that I can tell you.
And the similar type of rhetoric was coming from the United States top diplomat, Rex Tillerson, when he was asked whether the last week's strikes on Syria were some sort of sign for North Korea. Let's listen to that language.
The message that any nation can take is if you violate international norms, if you violate international agreements, if you fail to live up to commitments, if you become a threat to others, at some point a response is likely to be undertaken.
You know, almost makes you think that the show of force has become some sort of art, a form of art in Washington. But nothing beats, obviously, the reaction of the mainstream media, particularly NBC's Brian Williams, last week when the U.S. missiles were fired on the Syrian air base. Let's listen to that.
We see these beautiful pictures at night from the decks of these two U.S. Navy vessels in the eastern Mediterranean. I am tempted to quote the great Leonard Cohen, "I'm guided by the beauty of our weapons." And they are beautiful pictures of fearsome armaments.
So not quite yet the beautiful pictures sentiment on the mainstream media today, but obviously a lot of glee about the bombs, and about the mother of all bombs, rather. And you can tell how different it is to the times when Trump was running in his election campaign, when his language was basically a peaceful one. Well, he said ISIS was the biggest enemy, but not, you know, the whole bristling and saber rattling like we see it these days. And we only can, you know, expect more things like that if the situation in the Korean Peninsula escalates.
All right, Alexei, thank you so much for this report. That was RT correspondent Alexei Yaroshevsky.